What if I told you that the Bible foretold the existence of modern-day Israel thousands of years ago? While the world often views Israel through the lens of politics, borders, and conflict, the profound spiritual significance of this nation is often overlooked. Israel's uniqueness lies not only in its ancient history, but in its survival and rebirth, which many believe are integral to God's prophetic plan. However, here's a surprising aspect. God's promise to Abraham, the foundation of Israel, was not initially exclusive to one group. It was a promise of blessing for all nations, but was refined through Abraham's descendants, particularly through Isaac. This raises important questions. Why was the covenantal promise given to Isaac and not Ishmael, both sons of Abraham, and who ultimately inherited the promised land promised to Abraham? By the end of this journey, you'll see how the Bible prophesied Israel's future, why specific people were chosen, and how Israel's story continues to shape biblical prophecy and the end times. The story of Israel doesn't begin with Abraham, but with Noah. After the great flood, Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, became the ancestors of all nations. Israel's lineage specifically descends from Shem, from whom we derive the term Semitic peoples. Genesis outlines this genealogy, tracing Shem's descendants to Eber, the ancestor of the Hebrews, and eventually to Terah, Abraham's father. This lineage ties Israel directly to Noah's blessing for Shem. Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the servant of Shem. Abraham emerges from this line as the recipient of God's covenant, a plan that would not only promise a land to his descendants, but also make them a blessing to the entire world. God's covenant with Abraham marks a turning point. In Genesis, God calls Abram to leave his homeland, promising, "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." This covenant initially embraced all nations, but eventually focused on Abraham's lineage through Isaac, not Ishmael. Why Isaac? While Ishmael, Abraham's son with Hagar, was his firstborn, God chose Isaac, the child of promise born to Sarah in her old age. This choice wasn't about favoritism, but about God's sovereign plan. Although Ishmael did not inherit the covenant, he was not abandoned. God promised to bless him. "As for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will surely bless him. I will make him fruitful and greatly increase his numbers. He will be the father of 12 rulers, and I will make him into a great nation." Ishmael's descendants became a great nation. But the spiritual covenant and the promised land were passed to Isaac. God reaffirmed his promise to Isaac, and then to Jacob, renamed Israel, ensuring that Abraham's descendants would inherit the land of Canaan. However, Abraham himself only lived in Canaan as a sojourner. It took centuries before his descendants fully inherited the land, through Moses and Joshua's leadership. The journey to the Promised Land included slavery in Egypt, the Exodus, and 40 years of wilderness wandering. Under Joshua, the Israelites finally conquered and divided Canaan among the 12 tribes. However, this inheritance was conditional upon their faithfulness to God's laws. "Now if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. You will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." Despite periods of faithfulness, Israel's rebellion led to exile. In 586 BC, Jerusalem fell to Babylon, and the first temple was destroyed. This exile, foretold by prophets like Jeremiah, was both a judgment and a call to repentance. Jeremiah promised that God would bring his people back. After 70 years of Babylonian captivity, "I will come to you and fulfill my good promise to bring you back to this place. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." This restoration began under Persian rule when King Cyrus allowed the Jews to return and rebuild the temple. Yet the prophets spoke of a greater future restoration tied to the end times. After nearly 2,000 years of diaspora, the Jewish people returned to their homeland in 1948, re-establishing Israel as a nation. Many see this as the fulfillment of Isaiah's prophecy, "Can a country be born in a day or a nation be brought forth in a moment?" Yet no sooner is Zion in labor than she gives birth to her children. The rebirth of Israel is not just a political event, but a prophetic milestone, signaling the approach of the Messianic era. The Bible reveals that Israel will play a central role in the events leading to the Messiah's return. Zechariah foretells a time when Israel will recognize their Messiah. They will look on me, the one they have pierced, and mourn for him as one mourns for an only child. Paul echoes this in Romans. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. And in this way, all Israel will be saved. This spiritual restoration will coincide with Christ's return and the establishment of his kingdom in Jerusalem. From Noah to Abraham, the Exodus to exile, and rebirth in 1948, Israel's story is one of divine promise and fulfillment. While its physical restoration is evident, the Bible points to a coming spiritual restoration when Israel will recognize their Messiah and fulfill their ultimate purpose in God's plan. Israel's journey is a testament to God's faithfulness, a story that began in Genesis and will culminate with the Messiah's return, bringing peace and redemption to the world.